Take the crossbar with the spring on it and install it as shown here. Make sure that the raised portion of the bar faces up as shown. Now take this smaller spring and slip the loop into the center over this peg. Slip the small arm over the same peg, pivoting it down so that it snaps into place. Take the part of the spring that's still unattached and slip a screwdriver under it. Lift and push it so that it goes over the small arm we just put on. The arm should be resting against the star wheel on the brake adjusting mechanism. Going to the top, slip the spanner back over the mount. Then, slip the looped end of the parking cable over the mount. Just let the cable lay across the brake shoe for now. Take the cable guide and place it over this hole. Put the small end of the left spring into this hole, going through the cable guide, and attach the other end of the spring to the mount. Take the cable and run it around the guide plate. Then take the end of the cable that's dangling and pull it over that small arm at the bottom. Push the arm up and slide the end of the cable over it so that the piece of the arm slips between the spring on the cable assembly. Now hook the small end of the forward spring into this hole and stretch the other over the mount. Wiggle everything to seat it now. Now put your brake drum on. Go to the back and you'll see a slot. Take your screwdriver or other tool and stick it into the slot and turn the star wheel upwards. As it's turned, you'll hear a click. You must have the brake drum on when you do this. Keep turning the wheel until you hear a slight drag when you spin the brake drum. When you do, it's time to put the tire back on. First, slide the outer bearing in. It's tapered and the smaller side goes in first. Next, slip on the tooth washer so that the tooth slides into the slot shown here. Then put the nut back on so that it's snug. Turn the rotor a couple of times, loosen the nut slightly, then tighten it back so that it's barely loose. Don't put a lot of pressure on it. Now put the retaining washer back on, making sure that the tines are lined up properly. Slip a new cotter pin through the center and bend the legs to the opposite sides. Gently tap the dust cap back on now. Then put the tire back on using the star-shaped pattern. Start the lug nuts by hand, then tighten them down with a wrench. When putting any of your tires back on, the wheel must be torqued. Be sure to lower the car on the ground for this. You can often rent a torque wrench from your local parts store. Check your owner's manual and it will tell you how many pounds of pressure your tires need. Spin the bottom of the handle of the torque wrench until it lines up with the number corresponding to the pounds of pressure you need to apply. Then set the lock on the wrench to hold it in place. Put the torque wrench on each lug nut, then apply pressure until you hear the wrench make a popping sound. Be sure to check your brake fluid level when you're done.